It must be Nikki who was behind this. She must have done something to the scripture when I got her to look for it. That's right. Nikki must have conspired with Dustin to frame Brittany. The disciples said, "That traitor. Seize her and bring her here for questioning immediately." Letitia screamed in anger. "Right away." The disciples answered and left hastily. Soon, Nikki, whose hair was disheveled, was brought into the courtyard. She was tied up. "What are you guys doing? Let me go." Nikki struggled relentlessly, feeling wronged. She had just finished her bath, and the moment she stepped out, she was captured by her fellow disciples. Nikki Horst, you acted in defiance of authority and betrayed the guild. How do you think you should be punished? Letitia glared at Nikki. Betrayed the guild? Nikki was taken aback. Madam Letitia, what the hell are you talking about? You altered the Jade Maiden scripture in secret, which led to Edith going to extremes in training. Are you still going to deny it? Letitia roared. What? Madam Edith went to extremes in training. Nikki was shocked, her gaze darting around. She quickly noticed Edith in a listless state. She asked anxiously, Madam Edith, how did this happen? Are you all right? Stop pretending. If it weren't because you harbored ill intentions, Edith wouldn't have gotten hurt. Letitia shrieked. It wasn't me. Nikki shook her head repeatedly. I didn't do anything. I passed the Jade Maiden scripture to Brittany right after I got it. Shut up. Brittany's expression shifted upon hearing her. She rushed up and slapped Nikki's face 2 times. She screamed, You bitch! How dare you slander me? It's you who planned this. Exactly. We all saw it. You were the one who handed the Jade Maiden scripture over to Brittany. It seems like it's true that you can never know someone completely. I can't believe you would be so bold to harm Madam Edith. One after the other, the group of disciples condemned Nikki. I didn't. I would never harm Madam Edith. Nikki panicked. She struggled to get up but was unable to move. You bitch. Are you still trying to deny it? It seems like you still won't learn a lesson. Punish her with torture. Letitia ordered. Soon, a few disciples of the disciplinary board pinned Nikki forcefully to the ground. A thorny iron whip soaked in chili pepper water was brought out. The iron whip was specially crafted to break through. Divine aura. A few lashes were enough to overwhelm a skilled, divine-level martial artist. Let me ask you again. Do you plead guilty? Letitia growled. No, I didn't do anything. I'm innocent. Nikki gritted her teeth, her gaze unyielding. You brought this upon yourself. Torture her. Letitia gestured to the disciples. Yes, madam. The disciplinary disciple answered her and swung the iron whip down forcefully. A crisp whack echoed as the thorny iron whip struck Nikki's back hard. Instantly, her clothes tore and flesh gaped through her skin, covering her in blood. Nikki endured the pain. She gritted her teeth and clenched her fists tightly. The disciplinary disciple showed no mercy. She delivered whip after whip, each strike landing heavily. Soon, Nikki was covered in injuries. Although she was evidently in pain and was breaking out in cold sweat, she refused to yield. She continued to deny and defend herself from the claims. Do you plead guilty? Letitia's expression was cold. No, I'm innocent. Nikki looked at Edith pleadingly. Madam Edith, my loyalty is unwavering. I will never betray the guild. Please investigate clearly into it. Edith's gaze was frosty as she remained silent. It was as if she didn't hear her. Keep going. Letitia raised her hand again. Let me do it. Brittany volunteered, her gaze turning cold. She grabbed the iron whip from the disciplinary disciple, wanting to torture Nikki personally. Since she was more skilled, her blows were more forceful. Each lash that came down left Nikki groaning in pain as her face twisted in agony. This is your punishment for harming others? I dare you to harm others again. I'm going to cleanse our ranks today. As Brittany whipped Nikki, her lips twisted into an evil smirk. She was acting based on a personal grudge. After the torture, Nikki was covered in welts. Her back was so injured that it was hard to differentiate between flesh and blood. It was a gruesome sight. Yet, the Jade Maiden Sisterhood disciples looked at the sight coldly. Not a single person felt sorry for her. Stop right there. Suddenly, they heard a loud voice. At the same time, someone grabbed the iron whip from Brittany's hands, breaking it on the spot. It was Cornelius who saved Nikki. When Dustin yelled, Cornelius appeared in front of them instantly. He grabbed the iron whip and broke it in half. How dare you! You insolent bastard! The Jade Maiden Sisterhood disciples shouted. They were angry at Dustin and Cornelius for disrupting the punishment. Some took out their swords, looking ready to fight. Dustin ignored them and walked up to Nikki. His expression darkened when he saw her covered in wounds and looking close to death. It was one thing to steal credit. Dustin could have acted as if nothing happened. But now they had falsely accused a person and resorted to torture when things turned bad. It was outrageous. All of you are fellow disciples. Do you think it's appropriate to use such inhumane methods? Dustin scanned his surroundings, his gaze sharp. We are punishing a traitor. Outsiders should leave immediately. Letitia warned. This is my territory. Naturally, it is my business when something has happened, Dustin uttered coldly. Hey, I'm ordering you not to be a busybody. You won't want to get involved. Brittany's gaze was hostile. Dustin was silent and squatted down. He helped Nikki, who was very weak, up and fed her Hamitrol to help with her injuries. He asked, what happened? Why did they hit you? They said there's something wrong with the Jade Maiden scripture, and that Madam Edith had went to extremes in training. They're so sure that I harmed her when I'm innocent. I didn't do anything. Nikki was pale and weak. She kept shaking her head. Even when severely injured, she hoped to clear herself of the blame. I understand. Leave this to me. Dustin nodded. When he looked up once again, his gaze was frosty. All of you are too much for using such methods getting the situation straight. She had evil motives and intended to betray the guild. She deserves to be whipped to death. Letitia roared. Betray the guild. Do you have evidence? Dustin countered. The Jade Maiden scripture is the evidence. Letitia looked menacing. This disciple had malicious thoughts when she presented us with a fake scripture. After Edith underwent training, she went to extremes and was in harm's way. Wait. Dustin raised a hand to stop her. You must have gotten it wrong. I clearly remember. Brittany was the one who presented the Jade Maiden scripture to you. You should be asking why she harmed Madam Edith. Why you? What nonsense are you spouting? Brittany's expression shifted dramatically. She was unable to stay calm. Did I say anything wrong? Dustin glanced coldly at her. You took charge completely this morning and sat through a lot of trouble to get your hands on the Jade Maiden scripture. Now that something has happened, you pushed the blame onto Nikki. You're such a master at blaming someone else. Shut up. Brittany was flustered. Another word of nonsense at your mouth, and I'll retract your chance of being my fanboy. Madam Parker, you were at the scene today as well. You should be clear about what happened. If you haven't lost your memories. Dustin turned his attention to Edith. It's Brittany at fault. And yet you pushed the blame toward Nikki. I wonder if you're acting dumb or just playing favorites. Edith's lips twisted into a frown at Dustin's words. She couldn't believe someone dared challenge her authority. This bastard was asking for death. You insolent bastard. How dare you judge Edith with your status? Letitia roared. I'm just seeking justice. Dustin had his arms behind his back as he glowered at them. The Jade Maiden Sisterhood is a legitimate guild. If word gets out that this is how you handle matters, you will be the joke of the town. How dare you? Edith couldn't hold back any longer. She angrily screamed, Who the hell do you think you are? How dare you point fingers at us? Grab him. I will break your legs for humiliating Edith. Letitia's gaze turned cold. She shot toward Dustin like a ghost. As a divine-level marital artist, her skills were second only to Edith and comparable to several elders of the Jade Maiden Sisterhood.